After 12 races this year, Perez has been roundly beaten not just by Verstappen, but by Nico Hülkenberg as well. Hülkenberg has now scored more points in only his last 2 races than Perez in his last 6. Sergio, who racked up 3 podiums in the first 6 races, forced Red Bull's hand to extend his contract last month, only for him to capitulate. Helmut Marko was the first to get tired of the situation, revealing that a clause in the Mexican's contract allows the team to remove him and promote Ricciardo. But today, we now have the exact termination clauses on that contract. Drivers' contracts are top secret, and no team will confirm the existence of a specific exit clause, but we have a solid source. One-time Formula One champion Jenson Button has now confirmed the existence of this clause. The Brit has been doing media shifts since his retirement and revealed key details of the contract during his post-race interview at the end of the British GP. It took Horner a while to realise that Perez would need to be axed, but he has now accepted that this is inevitable. To ensure a fair fight, Horner has now organised a 200 kilometres race, and the result of that test will determine the Mexican's fate. Welcome to Front Lockout. As Perez continues to languish at the back of the grid, the calls for his sacking have increased. The Mexican was never Helmut's favourite, and it was the Austrian who gave the hint of his possible sacking. The key to Marko's decision was that he had promised Lawson a seat since last year. If you remember, Ricciardo's broken wrist took too long to recover last year, and Lawson replaced him for 5 races. Although the New Zealander would earn just a point during the stint, the truly remarkable thing was that he finished ahead of Tsunoda in 4 out of those 5 races. This was what made Helmut promise him that he would give him a seat if he remained as their reserve this year. But a huge pointer to the fact that Red Bull is ready to shuffle their ranks is that Lawson will drive this year's RB20 in Silverstone on Thursday. This is a filming event, but Lawson is expected to run the car for a staggering 200 kilometres around the circuit. This is not your normal filming day. Red Bull will use this test to make their final call. They had employed a similar tactic before signing Ricciardo last season. When Nick de Vries was putting up shambolic performances, Red Bull used a Pirelli testing event to make their final decision. According to Horner, Ricciardo was pretty much neck on neck with Verstappen during the test, and this was what made them sack the Dutchman. But the biggest sign of it all is coming from leaks from Perez's contract. It was widely reported in the media that there are 2 key termination clauses in his contract, but we couldn't report on it until Jenson Button mentioned it during the post-race interview at the British Grand Prix. The exact termination clauses in his contract have to do with 2 key performance indices, one of which Perez has now clearly broken, and he is on the cusp of breaking the other. The first one is that he must not be more than 100 points behind Verstappen. Perez is now currently 137 points behind his teammate, a massive 37 points off the mark. The other is that he cannot be more than 5 places below Max in the Drivers' Championship. The Mexican is currently 6th in the standings, with George Russell's retirement preventing this clause from being broken. As the season heats up, Red Bull needs its second car more than ever. Gone are the days when Max could brag about not needing his teammate. The Dutchman saw it firsthand in Silverstone, as Mercedes and McLaren fielded 2 cars at the top to dislodge him. In this segment, we will bring you the biggest talking points from Silverstone. Hamilton was caught on camera curving the FIA president. He had gone to congratulate the Brit, but Lewis clearly wasn't having it. He barely shook his hands and did well to avoid any eye contact with Suleim, let alone share a hug with him. Something is definitely up between these two. Oscar Piastri was left dejected after McLaren completely ruined his race. A team pitted him 1 lap too late as the rain began to drop. Driving on slicks on a soaked track made him lose around 60 seconds in just 1 lap. They should have double stacked. And we appreciate Mercedes for giving us a glimpse of how brutal they used to be. The Mercedes pit crew displayed their old efficiency as they double stacked both Russell and Hamilton and sent both drivers away in just 3 seconds. But it was not just the pit crew. The old Mercedes was back, and if it continues, Horner knows the end is near. Unlike other drivers who are probably guessing, Hamilton is the most confident guy on radio, dishing out clear instructions on when he wants his intermediate tyres. By far the most emotional moment of the Grand Prix was seeing father and son hug for what felt like over 60 seconds. Emotional Hamilton could not hold back the tears as he broke quite a few records. He now has the most wins on a single track, beating out Schumacher. He is also the oldest race winner in the 21st century, and this also marked his 150th podium for Mercedes. We believe that we now have a season on our hands, and we hope that Ferrari would get their acts together and join the party. Subscribe to the channel